So, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Shabbos Kodesh. It is also right before Purim, Shabbos Zachor, Parsha Zachor. So a lot of good stuff going on. Vayikra, usually it's kind of like the dry part. The dry part, no one really knows exactly Karbanos how they work. We haven't done it, and if even we had it, we're not Kohanim. Well, Mayor is, and Louis Koala is Cohen. So a few Kohanim we have in the Chevra. Mostly not Kohanim, people Levium singing. Some of us Levium really can't sing that well. Um, some of us are over 50, so not much work for us to do, even if we had good voices. So usually Vayikra is kind of like a nebulous, this dry, this gray area of, well, we say it. And Musaf, we say the Karbanos, Chagim, we know there's Musaf, there's something about Chatas, we know there's Asham stuff, there's Tamid they used to do. What's Kesher with us? So we know there's three pillars of the world. The Torah stands on three pillars: Torah, Avoda, Gemilas Chasadim. And in the back of our minds, we always know that Avoda refers to Karbanos, this certain Avoda that we do. Noach, after the Mabul, brings Karbanos. And we always equate this work, this Avoda, with Karbanos. So the Sefer Shalom has an interesting question: is if Avoda, actual work, is Karbanos, we don't do Karbanos. So theoretically, the world's standing on two things. So theoretically, the world should flip over. So why does it not flip over? It doesn't really say it that way, but if avoda is really important, it's one of the amudim of the world, and we don't have any avoda, we can't do karbanos for thousands of years. So what is avoda? What is that? How does it apply to us? Is that something that we should concern ourselves with? Should we bring karbanos if that's so important? So the Sefer Shalom kind of brings an approach where he wants to bring and look at the karbanos and take us away a little bit more away from Gemilas Chasadim and to focus a little bit more, make a differentiation with Gemilas Chasadim and Karbanos. As we look at Avoda, a lot of times we think about davening, we look at mitzvos, we look at Torah, and there's one little difference between Avoda and the other two pillars. One is something called Lishma. One is something called really clear thoughts, really zoned in, really Mesiras Nefesh. Other mitzvos, you don't really have to have lishma. We say toshal lishma balishma. Even if you don't have good machshavos, you're supposed to do it anyway. Torah, most of us can barely keep 5 minutes without looking at their phones. But you shouldn't learn Torah? No, go learn Torah. Because learn lishma. At some point, you're going to be able to do a lishma for just the sake of Hashem. And same thing with other mitzvahs as well. You shouldn't matzah. People have nice Hanukkah candles. Maybe it's a gaiva thing. Maybe it's an ego thing. Well, you should do it anyway because lo lishma. He'll come to doing lishma. Okay, but there's one thing that is lishma doesn't work, which is interesting, is karbanos. So the kohen has to have literally that in mind that he knows exactly what karban it is. It's an ola. It's a shlamim. It's a chatas. Also, how long it takes for the person to that can eat the karban. Chatas, only Kohen eats it that day. Shlomim is a day and a half, 2 days. A Toda is 1 day. So Kohen has to know these things. And if he has the wrong machshava, oh my God, I thought it was a Toda. It's really a mincha. Puzzle. We don't say, okay, lo lishma, the Kohen, the next one will be good. Karban is the only thing where literally the wrong machshava is puzzle 100%. Matzah, yeah, have in mind, don't have in mind. Maybe Sukkah the first night, Machshava, but it comes to Megillah, you're supposed to have in mind a little bit before that you're supposed to hear every word, but you still goes with the Evid. When it comes to a karban, totally gone, totally puzzled. So the Sefer Shalom wants to say that when it comes to a karban and avoda, we should really strive to have it straight from Hashem. All our machshava should be for Hashem. And avoda, even though some of the Mepharshim talk about it's Ramban, for example, say that's tefillah. The Sefer Shalom expands it. It says no, not necessarily tefillah. It's doing something l'shem shemai, doing something l'shem shemai, mesiras nefesh, whatever that is It could be giving money. It could be giving people rides who can't walk that well, giving rides to the store. It could be giving time. It could be learning with someone who doesn't really have a good background as far as learning Gemara. Whatever the avoda is, your serious nefesh, your personal work, do that with total machshava, and that's avoda. That's what a korban is. A korban, the tachlis, is close to Hashem. So whatever gets me to be close to Hashem, that's avoda. That's mesiras nefesh. And some people, many things. Some people, $1,000 is a lot. Some people, $1,000 is nothing. A couple months ago, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, Pepper, David, I think it's Tepper. I don't even know anymore. The Panthers lost a football game, and they caught him on the video throwing a drink on a fan of the other team. Oh, the way it made the news, and they fined him like $500,000, a crazy amount of, I mean, $500,000 for a cup of beer to spill on someone. Oh, they're making an example, $500,000 fine. But all over on the internet is like, that's nothing. And I'm like, nothing? The guy's worth so many billions of dollars. $500,000 is literally $1, $2 when you think about it. So it's not really a knas at all. So one side is it's a lot of money. The second part is it's really something. So the truth is, Siva Shalom doesn't talk about the Panthers, but the point is, whatever is important to you, that's what Mesiras Nefesh. A millionaire brings a korban, $20, $30, $50, not that big a deal. Tzedakah, for example, some people $10 is a lot of money. Some people $10 is nothing. And if it's something to you, something precious, important to you, you give that to Hashem. That's important. That's a good korban. That's Mesiras Nefesh, and that's totally what Hashem appreciates. Which is why, when it comes to the korban of a poor person, it says Nefesh kisechata. El Mefarshim jump on that. Adam. Nefesh? What? A poor person? Yeah, because for a poor person to admit he did a sin and bring a korban, which is really expensive, it could be that's all the money he has. And a lot of people, you do something for show gig, no one saw it. It wasn't on purpose, not that big a deal. So a poor person to wake up and say, you know what, I did a show gig, I turned the light on Shabbos, I have to now bring a korban. And the wife's like, yeah, but that's 500 shekel. We only have another 700 in the bank. That's Mesiras Nefesh. Giving something important to you, meaning most of your money, your savings, that's Mesiras Nefesh. It's this morning I just read in the other sefer called Pelos HaTorah, a story with Agrippa Samelach. So Agrippa Samelach was from Herdus, whether a grandson or great grandson, Tom the second base of Megdash. Does a lot of good things, does some bad things, but the sefer, the Red Tanchuma says one day, for some reason, he wanted to bring 1,000 karbanos. I don't know exactly what the story was, and he tells the Kohanim, all day, 1,000 karbanos. No one else should bring a korban except for me. I have all these animals. I have to thank Hashem. Whatever took place, today's my day. Tell everyone not to do anything. No other karbanos, just mine. And Kachaya. King says something, Kohanim going to do it. And his guy shows up at the base of Mikdash with two animals. And he says, could you bring my karbanos today? And the Kohen says, I'm sorry, but we're closed for business today because only the king could bring his karbanos today. No one else. And the guy was so upset. He says, listen, every day I bring four, and I get four animals. I'm a hunter. I capture four animals. Two of them I bring as a korban. And I do this. I give half the animals, half the money that I could have gotten. I give it as korban. This way to thank Hashem for what I have and to daven that the next day I should be able to capture animals and be mafanis myself. And the Kohen agrees. The Kohen is so taken aback that this guy, A, he gives half his money literally as korbanos, and B, he really attributes his success to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. And again, most of us believe Hashem is responsible for our success, but Akadei Kach, we really believe in giving half our money for that. No one, I don't know anyone does that. And the Kohen does it. The Kohen is so taken aback. Yep. And that night Agrippus has a dream that this happened. And Agrippus has a dream that this Kohen brought another korban somebody else, and he calls in the Kohen. And Agrippa says, "Did this really happen?" And Kohen says, "Yes." And he thinks he's about to get killed. And Agrippa says, "That's the right thing to do. That was correct. Better this poor guy who gives half his money income each day to Hashem. That's better than my 1,000, because Agrippa was a wealthy king. He beautified the base of Mikdash. And Agrippa admits that's a good move. That's a good move. And that's kind of really what Hashem is looking for. The money thing is not important. The Torah doesn't say anything about money with a carbon. Um, the Torah says, "Mikem Yaakov Mikem," from yourself, from yourself. Bakar Tzon, okay, Homer, things that are worth things, but really the point is Mikem. The Torah says, Yaakov Mikem, you have to give for yourself. And nowadays we don't have karbanos. Um, we give from ourselves, whatever is me'od. The Gemara says, me'odecha, me'od, not just money, but what's important to you, me'odecha, what's important to you, give that to Hashem. Your time, your efforts, your energy, your enthusiasm, giving that to people that could use chizuk. Give what's important to you, give that over. And the Siva Shalom really hits this home with this week with Parsha Zachor. In besides having a Parish Purim, he also, like we said a few weeks ago, on the 4 Parshas. And this week is Parsha Zachor. And Siva Shalom really hits this idea home very hard, is Parsha Zachor. Because Parsha Zachor is a little bit, the whole Parsha Malak is very strange. Think about it. It goes out of its way to say Zachor, to remember, and then it also comes to highlight the fact that Jewish people had a few times, a few shots to really destroy Amalek. Yeshua could have done it. The Medrash says he leaves some of the weak people alone. Shaul has a chance to do this. Mordechai, after the war, they have a good shot to do this. What's going on here? If it's so important to get rid of Amalek, that the the throne of Hashem is not complete. The throne of Hashem is not complete. It's so important. Why does Hashem just get rid of Amalek himself? Why is that? All the other nations, they don't exist really. The Persians, there's no Persian Empire, and even there's no Amalek Empire. We don't even know who they are, what they are, where they are. What's this very strange thing? So other nations did really worse things to the Jewish people. There's no mitzvah to remember Moab, remember Midian, Edom, Amalek, get rid of them, destroy them. And this here Shalom says this is a generational thing, which is why Purim won't go away, because Purim is a generational and a yearly operation, not just in Persia or in the Midbar. This is every person. We all have the responsibility to get rid of Ra in the world. Wait, where's Amalek? Well, I don't know. Where are they? They're the Arabs? They're Germans? No. Amalek is this koach of bad, and it's in everybody, in ourselves. Um, and without us actively trying to eradicate evil in ourselves and the world, then there's no case, there's no Mashiach. And the Siva Shalom says we have a few times to do this. Yeshua, they weren't strong enough spiritually to get rid of Amalek 100%. They didn't have the Torah. They had Mitzrayim. They weren't strong with the Refidim. They weren't strong with Torah. They couldn't do the job. Shaul had a shot. They weren't strong enough to do the job. By the second Beis Hamikdash, by the story of Purim, they weren't strong enough to do the job, to finish Amalek. So, unfortunately, there were times when we were close, as Hugh Shalom says, but the case was pushed off. And without every Jewish person, really be active in getting rid of evil, not just Amalek, where they are, but in ourselves. This koach of Ra in the world, that's something that we have to ourselves destroy. And we have to remember, not just each year, but every day. We have this awakening once a year in Shabbat Zachor, and we read this Purim, Gil's Esther. But the point is really to remember to get rid of Ra in the world. So that's kind of really what Sefer Shalom kind of talks about, is that Karbanos and Avoda is not just something that was a couple thousand years ago with a bunch of animals in this big golden place with Kohanim. And Amalek isn't just looking for nations somewhere. Are you Amalek? Let's shoot them. Let's do something to them. Blow them up in Gaza. No. The Avoda is every day. It's giving what's important to you, but trying to get your machshava 100% straight and doing it totally for Lishma, for Hashem. And the lesson of getting rid of Amalek. Once we kind of align our thoughts that all we want to do is be close to Hashem, and we can, in that moment, we can eradicate some of the Ra in the world, in ourselves, and hopefully bring the Mashiach. And hopefully we'll have a great Purim. And here's to B'sar Tavot. Shabbat Shalom.